Hey everyone, Mark Brown here. Welcome, Azure Cosmos DB TV. I'm joined by Yohan this morning. Hi, Yohan. How are you?
Hey, I'm great, and you?
It's good. I'm doing great. It's nice and well, it was cloudy and rainy earlier in Seattle. Now it's back to whatever, the mixed bag of normal stuff for late January. This week, we're going to talk about building agentic apps in Cosmos using LangChain JS, and really excited about our session today. We did another session not too long ago about our new MCP toolkit as well. So lots of activity on the product teams and lots of teams across Microsoft, and of course amongst all of our developer community building agentic apps. So really excited to see what you got to show us today.
Thanks. So welcome to this video. So here I'm about to showcase a sample app, and we'll navigate just through like a demo. We'll see a bit about its architecture, and then I'll show a bit of the code that powers this app. So we'll see how we use like Azure Cosmos DB and LangChain.js, as you mentioned it, Mark, to power an agentic system that's built on something quite familiar, just a classic REST API. So first, let's start with the demo so you can see what I'm talking about and how it works. So the sample I'm talking about is this one. So it's available on GitHub. You'll see the link in the video. It's also you also get it in the video description below. And basically, what it shows is that we built this app for content so burgers. They wanted like an agentic system to help customers pass orders for the restaurant. So this is the app that we have. It's a regular chat application, but you just cannot ask question. You can also make the agents, for example, pass orders for you, cancel orders. You can get recommendation and stuff like that. So, for example, let's just say I want an extra spicy burger. I'm in the mood today, and yeah, I just want it, no question asked. Just do the stuff for me. And let's see what the agent is doing. So you can see it's already fetching the menu. We have like some hints about what's going on behind the hood in there. You can see it's got the list of the different toppings that we have available at the restaurants. And now it seems to be placing the orders. And I should get the result after that.
So do you think by spicy it means paprika or Carolina Reaper?
We'll see. Oh, spicy jalapeno fiesta burger.
That's pretty good.
With extra jalapenos and chipotle mayo. So it's going to be extra spicy.
That's nice.
So we can have a look at, you've seen this whole step. So here I have like this debugging component. So we can see all the back and forth between the LLM and the tools. And behind the tools, we have our API, as you'll see in just a minute. So we can see that it fetched like the menu, the list of burgers, the list of toppings, and then placed the order. So this is what you have. On the left, we have like the history of my previous request. So I can, for example, go back in the past, see here I ask like the full list of the burgers available in the menu with images and ask for a recommendation for a spicy chicken burger in the past. So yeah, basically I can navigate with all the stuff I already asked to the agents, and you can see that it can do things for me. And just to confirm, I have here the dashboard of the restaurant, and you can see that the order I just placed has been sent to the kitchen in there. So just a quick overview of the application, and now we'll see how we build this application. So back to the slides. Before we dive into the code, first let's see a quick overview of the different components that the application use and how they interact with each other. So yeah, it might seem a bit intimidating to see like this schema at first, but don't worry, we'll go like step by step. So the base of our system is the Burger API in there. It's the business REST API that handles the burger menu and all the orders. all the user, the burgers, and the orders are stored in Azure Cosmos DB. The images that illustrate the menu that you've seen in the agent interface are stored in a blob storage. And also, fun fact, like our entire menu that includes like the burgers, the toppings, and even the images were all generated by AI. And we put also the script that we use to generate like all this data inside the repo, so you can have a look. Now, on top of this burger API, we built the MCP server. So this MCP server exposes the endpoints of the burger API to be used by LLMs. And this is what our agents, as you've seen in the demo just before, use to interact with the API to like get the list of the burgers and place the orders. And then we have the core of our agent system. We used LangChain.js to build it and access the tools that were exposed by our MCP server. We have our LLM, which is GPT-5 Mini, that's provided by Microsoft Foundry. And again, we use Azure Cosmos DB to store all the chat sessions history, so we can like go back in time and see what I ordered in the past, and even ask to order the same thing as before. And finally, we have the web apps, so the UI that you've seen in the demo. So you have the live order dashboard, the one that's shown in the kitchen, so we can track the orders. And you have the agent web apps that we use to show the demo, where you have like the chat interface. For the authentication, we use like the built-in authentication components that's from static web apps, so we don't have to handle that. And that's basically it for the overview. Just to get you a hint of what we were talking about when I mentioned like the burger API. So here I have like all the endpoints that are exposed by the API. So you can see that we have like everything to manage your orders, like get the list of your existing orders. Of course, it's only for a given user. You can get specific one, cancel one, or create a new one, and you can manage like the menu, get all the list of the burgers, details about the specific one, the toppings, the different topping categories, and all the images. So this is what was exposed through the MCP server to the LLMs in there. Now, next, let's just talk a bit more about LangChain.js. So since the center of this agentic system is built with it, I just wanted to mention just a few words for folks who may not have heard about it yet. So LangChain.js is an open source framework and even more an ecosystem that allows you to build application and even more with the last version agents using LLMs. So you have like here I'm using the JavaScript version. You also have like a Python version, and both have a similar components and works exactly the same way. One in JavaScript and the other in Python, of course. And the thing is, it provides all sorts of high-level abstractions, so don't have like to care about like the model provider that you're using. We have access, of course, to Microsoft Foundry, OpenAI models. And the fun fact is that you can run this entire sample entirely locally without deploying anything to Azure. Using Ollama, given that you have like enough power on your machine and enough RAM to run like a local model to run the agents. But otherwise, just the same code was used to have this local version and the one that's running on Azure.
I got a question. So I worked on a couple of workshops using LangGraph in Python. So can you explain the difference between the LangChain.js and its abstractions? Because this looks similar to what you get with the LangGraph on the Python stack.
Yeah, so LangChain and LangGraph is basically different level of the same ecosystem. So LangChain is the very high top level abstraction. So the easiest way to create your agent, LangChain.js is the entry point. It provides like access to the LLMs, a very simple single agent loop. The one that we used in our sample. You can still build handle some quite complex use case with that, the connections to MCP server, for example. But if you want to have like more control over your agents, for example, to integrate like middlewares, human in the loop if you want like validation before calling MCP tools, if you want to like follow a very specific workflow for your agent instead of letting like the LLM orchestrate it for you, that's where LangGraph kicks in. So LangGraph is like the low-level abstraction that you have. LangGraph is used by LangChain.js, by the way, and LangGraph basically gives you like all the low-level components so you can build your agentic workflow like with full control. So if you can use and like we did in this demo, LangChain.js, start with it, and when you get at a point where you want like more control on your apps, as I said, for example, integrate human in the loop, that's when you add LangGraph in, so you can have more control of your workflow.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
And then with LangChain.js, you'll get also all sorts of abstraction that will help you, like basically helpers to integrate your own data and APIs. So you can just focus on the business use case. For example, in there, we just wanted to add like a smart feature to our REST API. And to be honest, this is truly key because without like good data access, without access to external integration, like the one that we have, for example, that handles the chat history, it's all integrated, and I did not add, you'll see when I show the code, anything specific to connect with Cosmos DB. It's built into the LangChain. And yeah, without that, it's hard to build like good agentic systems. So really good access to data and integration with like third-party services is kind of the key to get fast with these kinds of complex systems. And last but not least, one of the good things also that makes LangChain very popular is its very active community. So yeah, it might not seem much like from a business perspective, but if you're like a developer and you've trying to build like agentic apps, having like a strong community where you can ask questions, see some examples, means that you'll never get stuck on an issue, and it's easy like to seek help and find examples. So yeah, this means a lot for developers like me.
Yeah, and just like the rest of the JavaScript community too, pretty active overall.
Yeah.
Until you latch onto something.
So yeah, ready to show some code?
Okay.
Let's move on to my VS Code in there. So here I opened the project, and under the packages folder, you can see like all the different components that you've seen in the overview I've presented before. So we'll start with the Burger API. So it's built on top of Azure Function, but it's really like just a regular REST API. You can see the different endpoints you've seen in the Swagger in there. And for accessing all the database, we have this like database service that use like as the access layer. There's nothing really specific in there. It was all built using Copilot, by the way, and it's built on top of the classic Azure Cosmos JavaScript SDK. So it's creating like the connection to Cosmos, and then you have like all the methods to access the data, whether it's like the whole list of burger or specific burger toppings, and anything that's needed to create like these endpoints. So this is the core of, this is the regular REST API that you may have and host like your business use case. The interesting part now is that how we added like the smart feature. First, let's talk about the MCP server. So the MCP is not all that complex. It may seem a bit overwhelming if you're looking at all these kind of different technologies and how like they fit into each other. But each component by itself is not that complex. So for the MCP server, if we look at it, basically we use like the Anthropic official SDK for TypeScript. And it's basically a list of this kind of calls, like a register tool to expose the endpoints. So it does for every, I did it for almost like every endpoint of our API, and just created a tool for it. Like you have, for example, get burgers by ID, the toppings, and anything for the orders also. Let's show placeholders. And every time like you create a tool, you basically give it a description. This is very important because it's what the LLM use to make the decision to use this tool or not. So it needs to know what the tool can be used for. You need a schema. So this is using Zod in there that's translated to like a regular JSON schema that shows you the shape of the parameters that the tools needs to be able to be called. So like, for example, when you're placing an order, you need to send in like your user ID, the list of items like the burger ID and how many you want to order if you have like extra topping for a burger and stuff like that. And basically for the tool implementation, you can put some of the logic in there if you want, but as we just wanted to build on top of our API, I'm just doing like a regular pass-through through like REST calls. I'm just calling our API from our MCP server, nothing fancy in there. And all my tools are just basically like Fudge Burger API. So this is a pattern you can reuse if, for example, you have like your own business API and you want like to add build an agent on top of it. You don't have like to rewrite everything or build like custom tools. You can just create like an MCP layer on top of your API so you can expose the data and also put extra security if you need to the agent. And now basically all the agent core lies in the agent API. So it's a REST API that just exposes our LangChain.js agents. And the most important component is in the chat post function. So we'll see an overview of it. So here we have like the prompt that tells, okay, it's an assistant that help user manage burger. I give some context like the name of the restaurant and stuff that's not necessarily in the database. I'll tell it what task I want it to do. So basically help the users, and at the end, you can see that, oops, it also have like a specific part of the prompt to generate like the follow-up question, the things that, I don't know if you noticed it, like at the end of the order, we have like this follow-up question. So it's all generated by the agent. And then we have like the instructions. So yeah, just because I use like a small model, I just make sure that it's don't try to like make up things and use the tools to get the data or do stuff. And yeah, basically give it some instruction about like formatting to use Markdown and use the images to make it nice and stuff. For the second prompt, we'll see what it's used for later. So let's dive in a bit into like the function. So here you have like the regular parameter checking from the REST endpoint. I'll just skip that to the important part. So here I'm using like the LangChain just to access Foundry through like the OpenAI integration. So just connecting to my Azure endpoint and using the model. For the Cosmos DB, to be able to handle the chat history, there's this Azure Cosmos DB chat history component. So it's a LangChain component. If I go at the top, you can see it's from the LangChain Azure Cosmos DB package. So we have like an integration built for LangChain JavaScript and Python. And yeah, it will automatically store the chat messages from our agent as long as we continue the conversation with it. Then the important part, we have like the connection to our MCP server. So again, this one is built into LangChain. Just make it easy to connect. We give it the URL. We just say, okay, you're connecting through HTTP and load all the tools from the MCP server. And then I was not lying just when saying that creating an agent with LangChain is quite simple. Once you have like access to a model and the tools and the prompt, basically you run the create agent function, and that's all you have to create your agent. Now to invoke it, I just here I'm retrieving like the messages, the last message from the that was sent from the chat interface. I'm loading like the previous message from history and just sending that as to my agent as the prompt. Just see that as the first message, I also inject the user ID. So when I'm, for example, asking, when during the demo, I asked my agent to place an order, I didn't have like to specify who am I and stuff like that. It was automatically injected through the authentication part. My user ID was automatically injected into the list of messages that were sent to the agents. And then we sent like the list of message and the question. And because I wanted like the agent to be interactive, as you've seen when I send the question, you can see like the different steps appearing. Is that I'm using the stream interface to get not just the response, the final answer of the agent at the end. I wanted to get like all the steps and to be able to show them and not just have like a big waiting animation for the user. And I mentioned at the beginning that we have an extra prompt. So it's time just to go back in there and explain what it's used for. So just like when you've, I probably guess that you've used ChatGPT before. If you looked in there, in the history, I wanted to have like a similar feature where you have basically just a short title that resume like your messages, your conversation with the agent. So this is the one that was generated for my last order. Extra spicy, no question. That's a good summary. And for that, I use like a small prompt just to say, okay, for this session, just use that to create like a title that's very short. I give it like less than 32 characters and some. I did not want like extra formatting or markdown for this one. And this is what I pass it. Now going back to where I was. I generate the title in the background while my agent is working and give it to the chat history component just to set the context for this particular session, chat session. So this is how basically you get the title appearing after a session. Just for example, let's try a new one and asking something new, like for example, what sauce do you have? So it will be thinking. We'll go back later to see what was generated for the title in there.
So that tool, is that a tool you call in there and that gets executed when the turn comes back?
Yeah, it's done in the background, and you can see it appears like after the call is completed, it just does like a refresh to see it appear. And usually it's already done by then. So source option was the small title that was AI generated based on my request in there. And this is what I used. And when the response was complete, you can see that I'm calling like a chat history add message to add like the question that I sent to the agent and the new answer that was generated by the agent to my history. So this is how you build up history with the agents. And basically we're complete. After that, I could dive into like how you handle like the different event from the stream, but this is all just data formatting for the front end, so it's not all that interesting. But yeah, we've seen this quick overview like of the different most important pieces. If you want to dive into the sample, I encourage you like to look at the different components. For example, I mentioned it like at the beginning that everything was AI generated for the menu data. You can have a look at these two scripts. It's cool. Quite interesting to see how like this whole menu restaurants and the image were all generated by prompt, and especially we used like constraints to generate like all the data using the actual schema that we use in the database. So I encourage you to have a look at this.
Find that the data generation people may find fascinating if they haven't tried doing that before. It's it can be easy in some scenarios. I've run into I've tried to create kind of complex relationships between different sets of data in an entire data set, and the prompting gets tricky, I guess. It's an exercise in good prompt engineering for how do you prompt an LLM to go and create these complex interactions between these sets of data you've got in there. But So I encourage people to go and see how you went and generated data in there, and then start taking and learning and applying that, because if you're working with any kind of data or database, it's helpful to understand how to generate data, or how to use a tool to go and generate data in there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as much at first, but yeah, getting it right, as you say, it can be tricky at times.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is really cool. I like this. I see you have an infra folder in there. So if people want, they can go and take your sample here and deploy this directly into Azure, I'm guessing. So are these the API endpoint, those exposed as HTTP functions within Azure? Okay. And then the same with the MCP server as well?
Yes.
Got it.
So yeah, but basically, yeah, to run this sample, you have two options. Either you just go and clone the repo like this one I've shown in the beginning. So yeah, you just follow like the instruction to deploy it to Azure. So we're using in this one, we're using the AZD, the Azure Developer CLI tool to deploy it. So as long as you have like an Azure account, you can do like AZD up, wait somehow 10 to 15 minutes to deploy everything, and you should be good.
Great. That'll deploy all the models too for users when they need it. So, okay, perfect. Yeah. And what models? I saw GPT-5 Mini in there. What else are you using?
Only GPT-5 Mini. So it's used for everything, for like the main agentic loop, but also for generating like the small titles.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Most people should have access to that. That's a newer model as well. So, and light on the resources, which is also good in there. So, yeah, this is great. I love it. So people can go customize the env file or run a deploy locally, and then get an I'm guessing AZD will output an env file for them, or at least the values they need to run.
I can even show it to you, because like there's no secret, we use managed identity everywhere.
Yeah.
It's safe to show. But yeah, after you run AZD up, you have like everything set up in this .env file to run everything locally. But yeah, even if you want just to try the sample, just to understand how it works without deploying anything, basically we have fallback for everything, just as mentioned, it's in like the docs, but you can just set up just this way. So you can use for the AI model, you use like Olyama. So I use like this model to run the agent locally, and yeah, you can run it like fully locally. Just run the repo and npm start. It will start like all the services, and you can test the agent locally. So of course it won't be as good as the hosted models, but you can just give it a try and see how everything works, and like see the logs and stuff.
Oh, perfect. This is great. Love this, Yohan. Very, very, very cool seeing this. And yeah, it's of course, a beautiful front end you got built for this thing as well. So, and Gen AI did a great job with all those pictures in there. That spicy burger looks good that you generated in there earlier. So, making me hungry for breakfast for a spicy burger. Yeah, so just to kind of wrap up here, there's QR code if people want to take a picture of that. That'll take them to your GitHub repo, and people can go and download this and give it a try, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can they ask questions on your repo, on your issues list if they have any questions?
Sure, if you have like any question, you can just put it in the repo. If something is not working, just like don't hesitate to ask. Also, just something, since I can show it to you directly, built into the repo, you can see that I have a custom agent that was built. So if you already have like a GitHub Copilot, you can use the Codebase Explorer agent to ask questions specifically to the Codebase. So it was like specifically tuned to answer a question about this repo and this specific Codebase. So for example, if you wanted to explain it to you, like how the whole agentic loops works, you can just ask it and it will show you all the details. It's like a fun way to interact with the repo.
Very slick. So you're using the new agent Copilot or GitHub, whatever, Copilot agents in there. So yeah, I just started playing with this on a project, and I'm like, wait a minute, what are you creating here? It's like, I'm creating an agent to help people answer questions about your sample, and I'm like, oh, that's very cool. So I like I like GitHub Copilot, definitely. I can't survive actually without it. But it's like that's an extra kind of bonus on top when you can have something kind of pre-programmed as an agent in there to help you with your interactive agent sessions inside VS Code. Answer questions about what the sample and what the code is doing there. So totally awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's very cool. Good plug in there. So okay, well, Yohan, thanks for coming on and showing us this. This is absolutely beautiful and an amazing sample, and I think people are going to love this in there. So thanks for coming and showing us this. And folks, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed today's show, and we'll see you again next time. See you later.
See you all.